It's time for Perspective, an informative half hour about issues concerning the state and our area. Perspective with your host, Lynette Nelson.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another edition of Perspective with Lynette Nelson. It's the time of year in which we can all use some guidance in pursuit of our resolutions, our goals, our visions, and our dreams. How do we stay on the path to success? How do we deal with the potholes along the way, because we know they're coming? Today's guest has graciously agreed to share some of her experiences and expertise to help us all. Ladies and gentlemen, we're blessed to have motivational speaker, playwright, author, actor, Marine Corps veteran, mother, community advocate, and Williamsburg County Councilwoman, Miss Lynette Hammond, a.k.a. Sue Ham. Hello to you.
Hi, how's it going?
It is going great. We're just so happy to have you as our guest today. It has been just wonderful seeing you blossom over the years, set goals and achieve them. It has been really inspirational, and I thought you would be the ideal guest to help us all to get on track for 2022. And my first question for you, what are some of the most common obstacles keeping people from reaching their goals?
Well, let me just say thank you, too, for having me. It's such a pleasure, Lynette, and I'm so excited to have you back on radio.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some of the obstacles that are keeping people from reaching their goals, well, from the people that I've come in contact with, and even in dealing with myself with reaching goals, the biggest thing has been fear. And fear leads to excuses, and excuses exist because of fear. Fear of too much success, not wanting to be ahead of your peers, because a lot of times people who experience success, they get ridiculed and often said they think they're all this and all that. Or it could be fear of failure, or it could be fear of the unknown. So it leads us to make excuses, it leads us to procrastinate, and it leads us to just not take action. So the thing about it is we care too much about what other people think.
Wow.
And sometimes, we care too much about what other people think. And sometimes our own thinking sabotages our actions and our thoughts and our success. So that for me, in my humble opinion, is what I think really immobilizes people from achieving the success that God wants them to have.
Wow. Isn't it something, though, to think that we can sabotage our own success?
Oh, absolutely. We do it all the time. And don't get it twisted. There are times when I second guess myself and I'm like, whoa. How can I say I'm going to have this or I have this, but yet my other mind is saying, no, you're not. So, you have to get your subconscious mind and your conscious mind in alignment. You can't be, as the old people used to say, your other mind can't tell the other mind that you're not going to have it when you know that it is yours. Right. So don't talk yourself out of success.
That is a great answer. And I think it's also important that we realize that we are worthy.
Yes.
We are worthy.
Oh,
of
my
success.
goodness.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I did a video a few years back because, I grew up in the church and it's common to say, I'm not worthy, God, of your grace and your goodness. And that's not true, because if you're a parent, which God is our parent, as a parent, you know that no matter how your child messes up, your child always deserves your grace, your goodness, and your love.
Absolutely.
So we have to get out of that stinking thinking of just because we may fall short that we don't deserve the goodness that God has for us, because we deserve every great thing that
indeed.
Our Father, our Mother God has for us.
Oh, yes. When you were talking about some of the obstacles that get in the way of our success, you mentioned fear, excuses, and I think also sometimes people think that to whom much is given, much is required, and we could be intimidated about what it takes to maintain that status once we've achieved our goals. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's 100% accurate. People, we get comfortable. And I don't want to say people. I don't want to project this on other people. I want to talk from being in my shoes, Lynette Hammond's shoes, Sue Ham's shoes. A lot of times I've gotten comfortable and I'm like, I'm good. It's just like with making a certain amount of salary, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year. You say, I'm good. And a lot of times we say I'm good. It's because that's where we're comfortable. That's what we know. And so we say, hey, I don't need to go to that next level because that's more responsibility. I don't want that headache. But here is my thinking in that. When you look at nature and the way the world is created, we're supposed to evolve and go to the next level. If you're not growing, then you're dying. And so if you become comfortable and just max out at where you are, you become frustrated. It's like a credit card. You max that credit card out, you become frustrated because you got to pay those bills, but you don't have more money. So I feel like that's how it is in life. God has given us dominion over the earth. He has given us the free will to continue to create and to continue to advance. And most people, in my humble opinion, that are not happy, that do not have joy, is because they have become complacent and they have become too familiar with their surroundings and they have refused growth. And you're refusing growth because of fear. Fear of going to that next level, fear of more responsibility. But when you take on more responsibility, that's only showing that you're growing and you're going higher.
So you have to get beyond what you're comfortable with. And success
Absolutely.
is more than just a goal. It's an ongoing process. It's a lifestyle. We're always in pursuit of something. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
we become stagnant.
Absolutely. And bored and unhappy and depressed. Because then you start to ask yourself, why am I here? I just wake up, I do the same thing over and over, and I go to sleep, and I wake up and repeat that routine. That's because you become stagnant. You stop growing. You don't want to take on more responsibility.
Yes. Now, we talked about some of the potholes along the way as we pursue our success. And I know procrastination is one that's, oh my goodness, it's a bad one. Mm-hmm. How does Sue Ham organize your time?
I'm really horrible with it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm really horrible with it.
Who would imagine?
Yeah. But I try my best. And so one of the things I do is I started actually putting things down on my calendar because I was really bad with trying to commit things to memory. And then when I started forgetting a lot, I was like, oh, that's not going to work. That's not working out well. And so I commit things to my calendar. And another thing I do is I get up an hour early before everybody else, before the world really starts, so that I can take time to do the things that I know I need to do. Another important thing that's really helped me is actually physically writing out my to-do list. I know we have technology, we can put things in our phones and what have you. But for me, physically writing out my to-do list the night before, looking at it before I go to bed, and then allow my mind to process it as I sleep. When I get up in the morning, it actually helps to flow a little better. And I've also scheduled in time to do things with my children or do things for myself because being so active in the community and just helping so many people through social media who reach out to me, a lot of times in the past, I would negate myself. I would negate putting that time away, and it didn't work out so well. I would be tired, I would be frustrated. And so now I actually take that time for myself. So for me, like just putting on a calendar, writing my to-do list out the night before, and getting up an extra hour earlier helps me to kind of stay in line.
Okay.
Instead of just freewheeling it,
Yes.
So.
Yes. That's great advice. And one thing that I noticed that's common among successful people, I'm hearing it a lot. They get up early to start their day. So that's good advice as well. And earlier when we talked about some of the obstacles blocking the way to success, you talked about fearing what people think and being concerned about people a little bit too much. So my next question pertains to people in general. How important is it to surround yourself with a positive circle of friends, and how do you deal with your circle of friends as you pursue your dreams? And they may not have any goals, or their goals may not be in tandem with what you're doing. How do you build your circle of friends, and is it important to have that support system through friendships?
I think it's extremely important to have that through friendships. But, let's just be honest. Sometimes in your circle, your immediate friends, your best friends, they may not have the same common goals as you. They may want something different, or maybe they haven't they haven't decided to actually move past that comfort zone. So, and I get that. In the beginning, I used to get frustrated because I'm like, oh my God, you could have so much more, you could do so much more, but they weren't ready yet.
Yes.
And I had to really take a step back and look at myself. I wasn't always ready. I was paralyzed by fear and procrastination. So who am I to get frustrated with someone else? The only thing I can do is continue to show them the way, show them what I'm involved in, let them know about the books that I'm reading or the events I'm going to, and it's up to them if they want to move forward. So, I have those friends that are just my friends. We just hang out, we talk, and da-da-da. And then I have those friends who are my friends that
the
have
like-minded ones.
Right, the like-minded ones who have similar goals, and we can actually sit down together and write out a strategic plan and the people that we want to get involved to be able to accomplish that vision. So I have both of those,
Okay.
My hang out, let's go have some fun. And the ones like, let's have some fun, but listen, let's talk about how we're going to get to that next level as well.
There you go.
Now,
there's that saying, you can't take everyone with you. You'd like to.
No.
You'd like to.
No, my cousin said, he said this to me once, and I've stolen this quote from him. He said, everyone that comes with you can't go with you.
There you go.
And I was like, wow, that's
Yes,
powerful. But
yes.
I want to say this too. Everyone says you need to be around like-minded people, and I do love being around like-minded people, but I love having those like-minded people challenge my perception, challenge my way of thinking. I don't want you to go along just to get along. And that's the great thing about the friends that I have. If they think, they call me out. If they think it's some craziness, they'll call me out. Or if they say, Sue, you're looking at this the wrong way, look at it from this perspective, they will do that. And I appreciate that, because then I'm able to see things, from a different angle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Miss Solondia Hammond, a.k.a. Sue Ham, and she's giving us some wisdom on starting our new year, 2022, with the best tools in our tool shed to get to success, to accomplish our dreams, our visions, and our goals. Ms. Solondia Hammond, what is it that you do? And you're always so confident. What tactics do you use to build that confidence and to maintain it?
And it's going to sound like a cliche, Lynette, but it's the truth. It's just like I talk to myself. I talk to the God in me.
There you go.
That's
all right.
And I'm like,
that's all right.
I talk to the God in me, and I'm like, God, the power that is in me is greater than anything that is outside of me. And I know that you are in me. So I know that the two of us can do anything together.
Wow.
Even when
I love that.
Exactly.
Yes.
It goes back to the scripture to know that, he that is in you is greater than anything that's in the world. I didn't quote the scripture right, but I just take it and I apply it to me, and I'm like, God.
yeah, we get the concept. Yes.
So the two of us, we can do any and everything, and if we're not doing it, it's not because of the power of you, God. It's because of me lacking the ability to know how powerful I am with you. And so I talk to myself. I pray. I have faith. And the other cliche thing is I do it in spite of. And I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that I can fall on my face. But the best that can happen is that I can get up and learn from what I did wrong. So therefore, it's not a failure. It's a lesson.
So every experience is a blessing.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
Do you do any positive affirmations on a daily basis?
Yes, I do. I meditate as well. I haven't been meditating every day like I should. And I can always tell when I've drifted, because then I start to allow simple things to distract me. But I do affirmations daily. I write in my journal. I actually look in the mirror and do mirror exercises. And I found that that's very powerful. When I was teaching a drama class to some students, I actually had them do a mirror exercise, and fifth graders. And I was like, look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself and mean it. And it was crazy to me, though, in that how these fifth graders had such difficulty doing that.
Wow.
And that taught me, I was like, we need to start teaching our children to do this more, to do these mirror exercises, to teach them to love themselves first, to teach them to be more confident, to teach them to know that they are powerful and capable of achieving any and everything that they can think of, as long as they know that the power in them which is God and them, is greater than anything that exists outside of them, anything in the world. Doesn't matter about the economy. It doesn't matter about the bullying. It doesn't matter about anything that you might be going through. You can rise above it.
Wow. I hope that each and every parent or grandparent listening would start that as a new tradition of having your child or your grandchild do that exercise. I think that can be very powerful, very helpful
very
as
powerful.
well. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you got adults that can't do that right now. But just imagine if we could just start training our children to do that at such an early age, the kind of confidence that will instill in them. And they will know that their thoughts, the way that they feel about themselves, is paramount. It's more important than anything anybody else can say or think or feel about them.
Oh, that is so important, that they know that their opinions of themselves is more valuable than what others say, what others think of them. Amen to that.
Absolutely.
You can say that 3 more times and I wouldn't mind. Now, you used the word just a moment ago, distract. And it's so easy to be distracted from your vision and from your goals. And sometimes we have so many visions, so many goals, so many dreams that we're working on, so many things, and we have so many logs on the fire. How do you maintain your focus? Can you share your strategy with us?
Well, that's another challenging avenue in my life.
I know you have a lot of logs on the fire. Oh, my goodness. You have a lot.
You know, if I'm being truthful, yeah, absolutely. And I'm the type of person when I get bored very easily, and I love to do different things at once. And that could seem like I'm not focused, but for me, I am focused because I'm focused on doing what I love at that particular time. If I do it for this hour, the next hour I switch, then that's what I do. Now, you listen to other people that say, focus on that one thing, get great at it, and then move to the next thing. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. I'm going to tell you to do what works best for you. And what works best for me is doing multiple different things. But when I'm doing that one thing in the multiple things that I'm doing, I'm focusing on that one thing. For me, I love to write. I love real estate. I love teaching. I love speaking. I love acting. So I can't do them all at one time. So what I do is when I'm in that writing mode, that's what I'm focusing on. So if today I've decided, hey, I'm going to write today and I'm going to, I'm not going to do anything else but write, then that's what I do. If tomorrow I say, hey, I want to prepare some courses to teach my students about real estate in my private group, then that's what I'm doing on that particular day. So for me, I have to focus like that, which is really mapping out my day and deciding what it is that I want to do. Now, in the course of that day, I'm human. I may get on social media. And it can become a distraction. You know how we say we're just going to go check and scroll for 3 or 4 posts, and next thing you know, 60 minutes has gone by.
It's gone. Yes, I know how that can be.
Right. So for me, what I have to do is when I'm mapping out something like that, I have to say, listen, I'm not getting on social media for this amount of time, 4 or 5 hours. And I have to hold myself accountable. And what I like is the end process, is that the fact that I've accomplished so much in those 4 to 5 hours to now, if I want to go play on social media for an hour, 2 hours, I don't feel guilty. And to other people, it's playing, but really I'm not playing. I'm really expanding my brand. So
that's what I was about to say. Social media can also be something that enhances your goal, your path to your goals. So it's allowed. But, as you were speaking, I'm alerted to the fact that when I introduced you, I had a list of things that you do, but I left off so many. Mm-hmm. You've been flipping houses. You've been doing real estate. You've been teaching. I mean, there's so much, and we want to give you the opportunity just to share some of your latest projects with us.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that we're working on right now, we're working on a short film to talk about how Dr. King actually came to King Street, South Carolina in 1966 and spoke to 5,000 people. And it's so funny because as a resident of Williamsburg County, I didn't realize that Dr. King actually was here until I was in my 30s, which I think is a very sad thing, especially when we're taught about Dr. King all the time in school, but yet children in Williamsburg County didn't know that he actually set foot here on the grounds and spoke to 5,000 people. So we're working on a film, And it's not just going to be a film to show that he was here, because there is some footage, very limited footage of him and the speech that he gave. But we also want to tell it from a fictional narrative side. So we're going to intertwine. It's going to be based on a true story is how I should say. But we want to inspire the youth and say, hey, Williamsburg County is a great place. So great, in fact, that the father of the civil rights movement not only came here, but he delivered a speech. And so we want to go back and show why that is so significant and how special Williamsburg County is, in hopes to instill more pride in the residents here so that we can shift the mindset so that we can grow to the level that we desire to be on. So that's a project that we're working on, and that scares me.
That is
scares me.
But it's an awesome project, though. That is phenomenal. I can't wait to see the end result. And I know it can be a little scary, a little intimidating taking on a project like that, but I know, given your history, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it well. So I can't wait.
Thank you for that vote of confidence.
I know that you will.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of your other projects, but, people rally around you and they celebrate your success and all that you've done with your stage plays, but perhaps they don't know about the doors that were closed in your face. They don't know the days when you got a no ma'am when you expected a yes. So how do you mentally prepare for the inevitable setbacks along the way as you pursue your dreams?
Well, in the beginning, there were a lot of days of crying. There was, I can't believe this.
Yes, I know.
God, you told me that this is what you created me for.
Yes.
But, and there were a lot of days of me begging people to put me on, put me in, coach, put me in. And, but I really hadn't given anyone a reason to put me in or to put me on, meaning I hadn't done any work. I didn't have anything to stand on. I didn't have anything to show them that I was, ready to be a part of their production or be a part of their film or TV show. And so I just, had a serious talk with myself and was like, yo, why are you expending all this energy running behind people asking them to put you on when you haven't created anything? And secondly, no one is just going to get a yes. I mean, let's just look back at and study all of these successful people that we know. And when I say successful, I'm not necessarily talking about making the Forbes list because of the wealth that they've accumulated. I'm talking about success in health, success in their careers, success in relationships, success in wealth as well. And wealth is all that to me, And so when you look back at that, no one has just been the door has just opened. They had to pay their dues. And it reminds me of this church song, and I share it often on social media. Put your time in. Yes. Payday is coming after a while. And that reminds me to go ahead and work and show myself that listen, approve me, because it's going to be the best thing that you've ever done to put me on your team. So I got over thinking that somebody owed me something. I got over thinking that everything was just going to go my way. Now, that's not to say that I started thinking negatively, because I go into every situation thinking that things are going to work in my favor, right? But when the door is closed or someone says no, I don't automatically get depressed or sad anymore. I just say, hey, something better awaits me around the corner. And I keep pressing for that something better.
Yes, that's a great attitude. In other words, hone your skills and be ready for your opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely. And listen, if the opportunity doesn't present itself to you, then create your opportunity. That's what we did with the stage plays and the arts in Williamsburg County. There was an opportunity here. So we created that opportunity. And that opportunity, we're doing stage plays and just doing motivational videos on social media. It opened the doors for so many blessings to be able to, be on the Steve Harvey show twice, to be able to be a featured extra and in the film Almost Christmas, and to have David Talbot just blast me.
I think
on social media.
The community was more excited than you were.
I think they were. I was just like, I was like, listen, guys, in the film, I'm not even saying anything. They was like, yo, you don't understand. You got Hollywood to recognize you.
Yes.
And he's sharing you on social media and calling your name at the, he extended an invite to a group of us for the movie premiere in Hollywood. And when David Talbot got up there and he was just thanking everybody about the film, and he said, I want to thank Sue Ham. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I know. That was something amazing. I know it was.
It really was. To be from this rural area, it's just amazing.
Yeah, coming from such a small town and maybe at one time having limited vision to accomplish that. I think everyone gained a lot of hope just seeing you accomplish that, to get there. It gave Williamsburg County and surrounding counties a lot of hope. And many people look up to you, but who are your mentors? Who do you look up to? Who are your heroes?
Definitely my parents. My father is no longer here in the human form, but definitely my parents, man. They just get it. They get it. They believe in working hard. They believe in manners. I'll never forget. They always instilled in us manners will take you further than money. It's going to open so many doors, and therefore it will allow you to have the opportunity to have more and to get money and to be around great people. And that's something that I carry with me daily. My mom gave us the gift of God and the gift of laughter and faith. My dad gave us the gift of excellence and education and being ethical. And I think when you take those two and you marry those two together, oh my God, you have some amazing goals and morals and values to, you have no choice but to be a productive, great person in this world,
Yes.
So definitely my parents, people in the community who are doing amazing things, the unsung heroes who feed the poor, people who are educating those who don't know. Those are people that I look up to, and I'm just like, wow, they don't have much as way of money that because the world thinks you're successful if you're extremely wealthy with just money, but they have so much more than that, and they give of what they have. And of course, when we talk in Hollywood side, David Talbert, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Shonda Rhimes, I just think that people who can get it out of the mud and keep going and sustain and have sustainability with success, I think that's amazing. And
Yes.
I also love Reverend Ike. I know it's an old school dude, but Reverend Ike has some great teachings, and I listen to him a lot on YouTube.
I remember Reverend Ike from my childhood. Actually, we went to see him in person. Never forget that experience. Never forgot it. Never forget it. Well, you mentioned something I wanted to point out. You mentioned the influence of your parents, and I want parents to know that your children are watching, they're listening, and they're watching. You can't only just tell them what you would like for them to do. You have to be you have to show them those habits and help them to develop into that person. They're listening and they're watching, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So would you say you got your sense of humor more from your mom or your dad? Because you and your entire family, you're funny. Oh my goodness. Share your social media pages if you would. Yeah,
you can find everything at Sue Ham. Actually, if you just go to, if I can share the website, because that'll connect them with everything, SueHam.com, you'll be able to connect with everything, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. But if you put in Sue Ham or Sue Ham Baby, you'll find everything related to me.
Okay, we talked a lot about some of your accomplishments. We didn't get to all of them, but I'd like for you to share with our audience, what is your greatest accomplishment?
To be honest with you, I don't know what my greatest accomplishment is because I have not lived up to my fullest potential yet. I think that God has so much greater in store for me. Now, if you ask me the greatest accomplishment to date, I would probably have to say is really coming to know, and I don't want this to sound selfish, but really coming to know who I am and how powerful the God in me is. And I think because that's hidden from us and it's kept from us, and we're often taught that God is somewhere high in the sky away from us, millions of miles away, but God is in you. And once you realize that power is in you and you tap into it, it's amazing the life that you will have. You'll see things through different eyes. You feel differently. You want to help people differently. You want to be an inspiration. And most of all, you want to live your dreams, because if you live up to your potential or strive to live up to your potential, you will be surprised at how many people you inspire along the way. So
that is a great answer.
That's my answer.
That is a great answer. But before we close, and there's so much more to talk about, but time would not permit. But I want to mention your son, Jackson. I congratulate you on including him in your businesses and teaching him and helping him to hone his skills at an early age. You're such a wonderful mother and community advocate. We appreciate you. We respect you. We admire you. And we wish you continued success.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this interview, and I appreciate you. And you inspire me. You're an unsung hero, and I ask that you continue to do all that you're doing and continue to go to new levels and bring others with you.
Well, thank you so much. And we thank our listeners. We hope that you've gotten a blessing out of today's interview. I know I have. And we wish you all a successful 2022. Ms. Sue Ham, any final remarks?
I just want to encourage everyone to embrace yourself, love yourself, because when you let the good in you show, that's really showing the God in you. So when you live up to the greatness that God has put in you, that's really showing the God in you. So go and be God-like and do those things that God created you to do.
Okay, I like that. Be God-like. Again, thank you to today's guest, Ms. Solandia Hammond, and to you, our audience, for another edition of Perspective on WTUA.
You've been listening to Perspective with your host, Lynette Nelson. To suggest show topics, please email us, info@WTUAradio.com. That's info@WTUAradio.com. The views and opinions shared on this broadcast are not necessarily those of Praise Communications, its staff, or management. Join us next week for another edition of Perspective on WTUA Power 106.